Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the ground beneath your feet had vanished overnight, replaced by a yawning black void nearly deep enough to swallow a skyscraper. Now imagine not fear, but excitement. Because for China, that wasn't just a hole in the earth, it was a doorway to something ancient, something untouched by time, and something that might just help save the future. This is the story of the giant sinkhole that opened a portal into a prehistoric world, and the mind-blowing megaproject China launched to protect it. It all began in May 2022 in China's Guangxi Autonomous Region, a place known for its karst landscapes, where limestone mountains and caves shape the terrain into something that looks almost alien. But even for locals used to strange formations, what happened next was anything but normal. A sudden collapse of earth in a forested area near Pinghe village revealed a chasm nearly 630 feet deep. That's more than a 60-story building. Spanning over 1,000 feet in length, this was no minor incident. It was a mega sinkhole large enough to draw global attention. What explorers found inside left scientists stunned. Hidden beneath the canopy was a secret forest, lush, green, and thriving. Giant trees reached over 130 feet high, their trunks thick and ancient. The air was cool and damp. Sunlight filtered down like golden mist. It was as if time had simply forgotten this place. But the real shock? There were species living there, plants and insects, that may have never been seen by modern science. The sinkhole wasn't just a collapse, it was a natural time capsule, and China decided it was worth saving. Geologists say the region is filled with karst sinkholes like this, formed over millions of years as water eats away at limestone bedrock, hollowing out underground caverns. When the roof of one of those caverns becomes too thin, it collapses. But this one, it was extraordinary. Chinese cave exploration experts from the Guangxi 702 cave expedition team were lowered into the abyss. What they discovered wasn't just biology, it was geological history. The sinkhole, or Tianking as it's known in Chinese, had 3 distinct cave entrances and a flourishing ecosystem that had likely evolved in isolation. Some scientists called it a lost world, where plants and animals developed without ever encountering humans. Speculation ran wild. Were there unknown insects, rare amphibians? Could this place even house relic species from prehistoric times? As it turns out, China didn't want to just answer those questions. They wanted to preserve them, at scale. Most countries would have built a fence, taken a few samples, and moved on. Not China. Instead, they launched a full-scale mega-project. Government agencies teamed up with environmental scientists, civil engineers, and architects to create a protective infrastructure plan around the sinkhole. But they weren't just building to keep people out. They were building to let science in. Observation decks were proposed, but only at a distance. Drone mapping, 3D modeling, and remote monitoring systems were installed to keep track of weather, humidity, and plant growth deep within the sinkhole. Even more impressive? Plans for an underground research facility where teams could study the hidden ecosystem without disturbing it. Picture it, a subterranean lab powered by renewable energy, accessible only by specialists through carefully engineered tunnels. And above all, China began investing in karst conservation like never before. This wasn't just about one hole in the ground anymore. This was about how China would lead the world in sinkhole science. Behind this mega-project were real people, scientists, explorers, locals, whose lives were forever changed. Zhang Yuan, a young botanist who descended into the sinkhole during the first expedition, said in an interview, "It felt like entering a dream. You take one step and realize no one's ever stepped there before. It was terrifying and beautiful." Then there's Li Mei, a 54-year-old farmer who lives nearby. Her family's land lies close to the edge of the collapse. At first, she feared losing everything, but now? Her village is being trained as ecological stewards, offering guided tours above the sinkhole and helping monitor wildlife around the rim. "This sinkhole," she said, "gave us a new purpose. We used to survive from the land. Now, we protect it. Soon, the world took notice. Environmentalists hailed it as a rare conservation success story. Universities from around the globe requested access. Even National Geographic expressed interest in documenting the site in a multi-year series. China's sinkhole wasn't just a scientific marvel. It became a symbol of a changing relationship between human ambition and environmental responsibility. Because, let's be honest, we've spent centuries conquering nature. But what happens when we finally start listening to it instead? But it hasn't all been smooth. Preserving something so delicate comes with serious challenges. Invasive species from human contact, changes in humidity from mere observation, even soil erosion around the rim from foot traffic. China is now grappling with a bold new concept. Can you protect something without ever touching it? They've enlisted AI systems to monitor the ecosystem remotely, reducing human presence to almost zero. They're developing drones that mimic bird flight patterns to avoid disturbing the flora. Even the research facility will use climate-sealed chambers to ensure zero contamination. It's cutting-edge conservation, science fiction becoming science fact. And there's talk that China's approach could become a global model. As more sinkholes emerge across Asia, South America, and even the U.S., the Chinese blueprint might become the gold standard for how we engage with these hidden, fragile places. A hole in the earth. That's how it started. But in the end, this sinkhole wasn't just a void. It was a mirror. It forced us to look down and think upward, to realize there are still parts of this planet untouched by greed, pollution, or concrete. Places where evolution quietly continued while the rest of us forgot how to listen. And maybe, just maybe, this is our second chance. A chance to stop plundering and start protecting. Because in that quiet green abyss, far beneath our noise and concrete, life is waiting, untouched, unspoiled, unaware of us. And maybe that's the most humbling truth of all. If this story moved you or made you look at the earth a little differently, consider subscribing. We're on a mission to tell the stories that matter, the ones buried deep but still breathing. Because sometimes, the biggest discoveries start with a single step into the unknown.